Greetings and salutations. I hope everyone is doing well and welcome to this Saturday's upload. And Saturday means only one thing on this channel. Saturday Nightmares live from upstate New York. That is our live stream. It starts at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a lot of fun sharing experiences, theories, just talking about the paranormal, cryptids, and on occasion, secret government, black projects, and so on. The community chat is second to none. It is amazing. Friendships forged, respect just given. It is awesome. I hope to see you there 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, let's jump into a quick couple of links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. These audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's upload, shall we? Today's upload is out of an area called Charleston, West Virginia, in Kanawha County, West Virginia. A subscriber who is fairly new to the channel. He had been in the live this week, or this past week, on the 7th of February. And 59th gave him the email address. He had asked for the email address. He's about 2 to 3 weeks subscriber of the channel. So really nice kid. His name's Brennan, and he is from that area of West Virginia. Back in 2010, he had a experience. He was 20 years old, and he had an experience at a abandoned landfill called Fleming Landfill. We'll get into all of that, but I kind of wanted to set the stage for you. This landfill is pretty much in the middle of nowhere. There is just woods and more woods surrounding it. There are some roads. Obviously, there's some roads getting there and roads around it, but the kind of landmass of where it sits is, in comparison to landmass to people, you've got more land than you've got people in this area. So he had heard about this, and back in 2010, he was kind of getting into YouTube. I think the Vine days had just ended. Musical.ly was a thing, and kids his age were making videos, even if they weren't going to go viral. It was just something that a lot of people his age did at that time. He had a YouTube channel based on urban exploration. He and a buddy of his. Now, they had heard about this landfill and that it had gotten capped off in 2002. They decided to take a little adventure there and check it out, see if there were any old buildings rotting away in the woods, or whatnot. Maybe they could locate a mine or something. This area is pretty rich with the majority of West Virginia, Appalachian West Virginia is rich with mine. And many of the mines in West Virginia are privately owned. This land is not, it is state land. So let's jump into his encounter now that the stage is set. All right, so it's early summer 2010, and they had been going around West Virginia and some of the areas that were abandoned, old mines, anything that was just kind of empty. Obviously, with some towns in that region being emptied because of mine closures and such, there were houses that were long abandoned, not even structurally sound anymore, but they were making videos and just having a lot of fun posting, having a lot of fun doing kind of the exploration. And they had decided, or they had heard about this landfill and that it had been closed down 8 years prior. And they believed that there were some old buildings out there, possibly some remnants of mines. There are mines all throughout there. If Charleston, West Virginia, has some mines on the other side of town, I guess. So they decide that they're gonna, drive up in there, and it's early afternoon, and he's like, I'll never forget any of really what happened that day. We came in off of 21, and we were driving down a road called Mundy Hollow. Strangely enough, as they were coming into this area, there's a kind of church on one of the corners, on the corner of 21. And he remembers kind of looking at the church, and he wasn't very religious at the time. 20 years old, going through his own kind of belief systems, and a lot of people at that age have doubts and questions if God is real and if it's legit to worship. Just I'd have to say probably 6 out of 10 people at that age had gone through that kind of period in their life. I know I did. So he remembers looking at this kind of church and quickly saying a quick prayer. They find this Mundy Hollow road, and they kind of start driving down. They're looking around, kind of getting excited, and they see an opening after driving for a little while, the Fluelling landfill, or Fleming landfill, and Fleming landfill road. So they're like, there it is, right there. And at this time, there was kind of a gate in front of it. He's not been there since. He doesn't know if there is a gate up or not anymore. They drive right past it and come to a dead end. And they realize that they've maybe passed a couple of houses. So they're like, where are we going to park to not draw attention to our vehicle? It's not like we can park right up against that gate and not expect to get a ticket. So they turn around and find a pull-off kind of right past Fleming landfill road. They pull into this landfill, or into this pull-off next to the landfill, kind of an eighth of a mile in, and park. They're talking about, are we going to go, get out, walk down this little secluded trail and walk down the main road till we get to Fleming landfill. So they get kind of settled. They're talking, figuring out what and how they're going to get to this area. They've already kind of established a kind of home base. They realize, hey, where we're parked, it doesn't look like too many people come down this little pull off. It more or less looks like a area where kids would go to pull in, maybe smoke some pot and maybe have a couple beers or whatever. Kind of a lover's lane area. Nothing too revealing, very remote, revealing to the main road there, Mundy Hollow. And they kind of are looking at where they're at, and they're like, all right, if we walk back out this little pull-off area, and instead of driving, we can actually walk right to the opening of Fleming landfill and hop the gate. Why don't we do that? Matt and him are kind of like, yeah, well, what if somebody sees us? There was, one or two houses on that road. There's kind of one diagonally across from the gateway, not really right on top of it, but they're just kind of being careful. They don't want to get in trouble. Actually, at one point, or in the middle of all this, one of their favorite kind of YouTubers that they had watched growing up, mind you, they're young, it's 2010, had just gotten arrested for making a YouTube video, and they had gotten arrested for trespassing, and that's not what they wanted to do. They did not want to have anything on their record. It just no sense of getting in trouble because of our hobby. So Brennan says to his buddy Matt, he says, why don't we just leave the car here, like we're gonna, and we know where Fleming Landfill Road is. So if we essentially go straight into the woods instead of going back out toward the road, we just go straight into the woods and kind of veer to the left. We should be right in the landfill. And maybe they won't have fencing all the way around the landfill. Maybe it's just a gate and what you guys, what the public can see. Maybe it just doesn't wrap around the whole property. Sounds like a plan. Let's do it. They get their backpacks ready. They've got all of their stuff. They are kind of filming. Boom, they're out of their car. They discussed it and they're filming. They didn't want to discuss anything other than why they were there. So that's why they had established what was going on before turning on cameras and starting to record stuff. Now, they come to the area where the landfill meets the woods, where the wood line ends, and they can see that there is essentially some fencing right there. And they both kind of look at each other like, shit, well, we're gonna have to jump it, I guess. Not a very high fence, and there's, thank God, no barbed wire around it, just chain link fence, about a 6-foot chain link fence. So they hop that, and they are now in the Fleming landfill. It's dead silent, just very quiet. Dead silent, wrong term. It's quiet. They can still hear outside noise as they are walking into this area. On to the Fleming landfill road, and they're walking. It is very quiet. As they start to walk a little bit, they hear a dog, and they kind of turn and look. They half expected to see like a security dog or something like that coming at them. And they turn and look and they realize, shit, there's a house essentially right at the beginning of the gate. How did we not see that? Well, they didn't see it because there's a set of woods right there, kind of blocking the house from the road. And they're like, great, now we got to be like really, really quiet. Let's get out of the line of sight of this house so this dog will shut up. So they continue to walk, and they notice something up in the distance. It's kind of, it almost looks like a building, but it's circular, and they're like, what in the hell is that out there? They proceed to walk up to it, and it's some sort of capped off kind of well. It's rather large, cap on it, some sort of cement cap is on it, and they're looking at it, kind of filming, talking to themselves, talking to their audience, and they kind of get on it, stand on it, doing what essentially kids would do. And I'd probably get up on it too right now to this day. It's just something weird. Let's get on it and stand on it and see what happens. But so they're standing on this, and they've got a vantage point, because now they're 6 feet above where they were at first. So they're looking, and they kind of turn to look towards the house. They kind of scan the area, kind of scan the woods where they had just come from. And as they're scanning all around, they can see remnants of this landfill. And there's a kind of pathway that is off the main road, or off this road where people would drive in. But there's almost what looks like kind of an embankment. And they're like, check that out. Look at that. Because now they can see that there is no abandoned buildings or what they thought would be here. But maybe it's down that way. That looks like there'd be something. So they jump down and they start to walk down this little kind of pathway. And when I say embankment, it's this grassy kind of knoll is sloped in. It's rather large. And they get into there and they realize, hey, you know, we're kind of, if somebody were to come, security were to come that way, and then behind us, we'd be screwed. We have no way to get up the embankment without slipping. And next to us is some woods and a fence line. So let's kind of get out of here really quick, because it's something people think about, you know, like when I'm up where Tom Mezek disappeared and I get into what I consider like an animal kill zone or a predator's kill zone, where Tom Mezek disappeared, it's the trail kind of forks around and then goes down into this kind of little dip, and you're at the bottom of it, and there's the high points on each side of you. And that's exactly what they felt they were standing in. So they kind of push on a little quicker than before. Their dog is still barking, you know. They can still hear the damn dog. And that's something that they would be aware of for the next 10 to 15 minutes. As they are kind of looking around, they see a shed, or what looks like a shed, off to the right-hand side. They can see that the fence line is still there. And they're like, well, you know, they must have put a fence all around this perimeter of the thing. They can still hear, once again, the dog barking. And they get to this little kind of shed area and they realize that it's not what they thought it was. It almost did appear from the distance to be almost a structurally sound small building. And they get up to it and they realize that it's pretty much dilapidated. They kind of go around the building and they don't really go into it because they can see everything. And Brennan starts to walk in front of Matt. He's like, I kind of went around the building with Matt, and then I went kind of at a straight line. Not following the trail that we were just on. I'm going towards almost where the main part of the landfill would have been. And like 3 minutes into the walk, his friend Matt says, dude, I think they brought the dog inside. And Brendan's like, what do you mean? You know, like, because you're hearing this dog occasionally, so you're going to kind of block it out. And then he stops to take a listen, and he's like, holy shit, you know, like, dog stopped barking, and they are now looking at this. What they can see is where the landfill would have been, a mound of dirt that they had whoever the state had pushed onto. And there's little methane tubes all throughout the dirt or sand lake area. So as they're looking at this filled in landfill, and it's rather large acreage wise, what he's looking at, he'd say maybe 5 acres. And they're looking at each other, looking out at the area, talking amongst themselves like, this is kind of a bust, you know? We've got one building that's not even a building, and there's really nothing to explore. Look, why don't we walk the perimeter of everything, see what we can find, and maybe wait until it gets dark. We'll keep filming, but we'll kind of stay in the vicinity until it gets dark, and maybe turn it into a kind of paranormal abandoned landfill, kind of freaking each other out, freaking the audience out, because we'll be filming at night, or at dusk till night. And at least we can make some sort of upload by doing this. And Matt agrees to that. You know, that's awesome. Our car's back that way anyway. If we gotta hop the fence, we can just sit in the car and, you know, wait until it does get dusk, jump back over, and, you know, if we get hungry, we can just pull out and drive down. We already kind of have a home base. So as they've come to this decision, they scan a little bit, because they're still looking for some sort of building, some sort of kind of evidence that, you know, something to go inside of, more or less. They were essentially urban explorers, but not in the urban setting, you know, more like a rural urban explorer, like Jumbo Shrimp. As they are panning and looking, Matt kind of pushes Brennan and says, bro, there's security here. And he kind of stops and looks, and he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, right there, right there. And across the filled in area, there's no grass on that part of the area. All around it is grass, because the methane is, you know, building up under there. It's probably hot, and grass probably can't grow there for a long time. But he's like, where are you seeing this? And he's like, look over where the grass kind of meets the dirt, and right there, boom, he sees it. And it's a person standing erect, bipedal. At their distance, it almost looks like someone in a tan suit, or like a tan uniform. And they both kind of back up a little to kind of get out of the middle of the opening where they are. That way, if it is security, they don't get busted. They can still do their video. And he's looking, and they're both kind of like, what? Where's their, you know, they don't have any kind of UTV. They don't have any kind of vehicle. Wouldn't there be more than one? And so that's what they're kind of figuring out, like, what in the hell are we looking at? As they're looking at this security guard, Matt says something to him, because he's now looking down at his equipment. Matt says something like, we gotta go. Like out of the blue, Brendan already knew they had to leave or kind of avoid being sighted. But he's like, I know. And he's kind of figuring stuff out with his camera, looking in his bag. Essentially what he's doing is he's breaking down his camera gear and putting it in his bag till later. As he looks over at Matt, he sees Matt's face is kind of almost creeped out. Not total panic yet. And he kind of has that, like, what the fuck? And he looks back and he sees from that vantage point, from where they are, he sees now that the security guard sees they are there. And he's like, shit, we gotta go. And as he says that, this thing drops down to a quadruped and starts to run at them. A distance away. A good distance away. You can barely make out what it's doing, but you can see it, Brennan and Matt are both kind of frozen. He's like, I was trying to figure out what exactly I'm looking at, because either the security guard's like fucked up or it's some kind of crackhead. I don't even know, a meth head. And it's coming quickly. And it lets out this demonic cry or howl. Very not dog-like, very unanimalistic, unhuman-like, something just out of the realm of the Twilight Zone. And it's almost got its head down, like running at them. So it's quadruped, but its head is down. And he's looking at it like, what is it doing? And he realizes, no, it's not its head that's down. It's how its neck is positioned. Its neck is downwards, but now its head is up, like facing straight up. So its neck was at like this weird angular position. And Matt grabs his arm and spins him around. And he goes, go. And they both just take off running. It lets out another kind of this just god-awful noise. And they start running as fast as they can. But essentially where they have to go through that little kind of knoll area, past this abandoned shed, a couple of acres back towards where they were coming from, hop the fence and get to their car. This thing's already cleared half of that distance from where they were. And they just pound feet. He's hauling ass. And he's not looking back. He's like talking. Like, we gotta go. Holy shit, what is that? And focused on running. He gets to the opening of where they hop the fence. And he says something to Matt. And he turns and Matt's not there. And now he hears the dog going ballistic. Going full on freaking ballistic. And he turns again to look like, where the hell did he go? Last time he had seen him was when he spun him around and they started to run. And they were both talking to each other, not a lot, but like, you know, that holy shit, what is that? Let's go, let's go, let's go. And he's like, and he hears that kind of high-pitched cry, howl again. He jumps up onto the fence and kind of just throws himself over the fence. And he books it to the car. Takes his bag off, throws it in the car. And he's got one of those camera bags where it almost looks like a backpack. But your equipment is, you have a water pack in your back, a water bladder, where you can have a hose kind of run up. And the front part is where you can put your camera gear. Also, it has a mount to where he can put a camera mounted on his chest as he's walking, almost like a body cam. And he kind of, he biffs it hard, boom. And it knocked the wind out of him because he had hopped the fence, and just so he could get over faster, kind of raised both legs. He didn't want to get him, cut his stomach open or his arm open from the, the crisscross on the chain link. He hits a exposed root when he lands. He lands right on his back, knocks the wind out of him. Of course, he's now, fucking hyperventilating, and he's sore, and he gets up and he gets into the car, and he's sitting there and trying to figure out where Matt is. He's like, where the fuck did Matt go? He's like, I gotta go back. He's like, but what the hell was that thing? The fucking dog's still barking. He goes, someone's gonna come out and see why that dog's going so crazy. He's like, I gotta get Matt. He's like, I'm gonna walk the perimeter of the fence. He's like, that way, if that thing, sees me, I've at least got a 6-foot chain link fence between it and I. And hopefully, as it's trying to get across or over that, I can already be back to the car. And he immediately goes, oh shit. Goes to his trunk and pulls out, he's got a .22 pistol. And he only has that in his vehicle. It's in the trunk with other gear that he has back there. And the reason why it's in the vehicle, not in his glove box, is because it's something that they have with them when they are doing nighttime urban explorations, or if they are at some kind of strange, building or home that's, set out in the woods. There's a lot in the Appalachia. There's essentially small little rural communities that are just, that are not anymore. I forget where, but there's an old mining town that the main road runs right through this goddamn town. And there's still structures on both sides. They're empty, long empty. Nature's pretty much claimed them again. But that's something that they would look into, stuff like that. So he grabs this .22 revolver and kind of tucks it in his pocket, in his front pocket. It's holstered, so he's just puts it in his pocket and takes the safety clip off of it the harness part, and starts to walk the perimeter. And he's like, should I yell? Should I yell for Matt? This is not, what am I going to do? He's like, if I call the cops, he goes, we get the cops out here. He goes, we're both going to get in trouble for trespassing. What to do? So he gets to where he walks the perimeter, and he can see that shed building, that dilapidated building. And he walks kind of past it at first. And he hears Matt say something from the building. And he turns and he goes, his nickname was Matty. He's like, Matty, yelling, but not enough to where Matt could hear him. And he hears some more kind of really low talking. And he's like, dude, I'm right here. He's like, come on out, let's go. He's like, where's that thing? And as he's like walking up to the fence, he's going to hop the fence. The building is dilapidated. Oh, I'm getting cold chills just from the building's dilapidated. So there's chunks of the wall that are gone. And he's like looking, and he's just got his hands on, and he's ready to, and he sees these greasy pits of eyes. These greasy black pits for eyes. And they are glistening. And he throws himself back, and he's like, holy shit. And it's in this building. And I've got cold chills right now because when he was telling me this, it was, and it pushes its head out of the hole. And it's almost like it's doesn't realize that being between, it can get its head through, but the rest of its body isn't going through because, well, there's part of the wall. And it's trying to push through. And it's making this like weird kind of a growl and human chatter. Like almost what Matt and Brennan were talking about, what they were saying to each other, just like this whisper, but loud enough to. And he quickly pulls out the .22 and he's like, I can't shoot this thing. He goes, because someone's going to hear it. He goes, but if I have to, I will. And he's like Matt, where are you? And this thing's still pushing through. And he hears branches breaking behind him, and he quickly, like he has this pistol out, he quickly turns and he points the gun, and it's Matt. And he's like stumbles back and he's like, whoa, it's me. And Matt walks up to him and he goes, holy shit. And this thing's stuck. Like if it pulled its head back out and turned around and came back out the front of the building, it wouldn't be stuck. But it is a predator, but not very intelligent. It's, trying to just push its way through the building. And it's actually having a little bit of success because it's rocking. These clapboards are rocking. And Matt goes, shoot it. And he's like, if I shoot it, he goes, the neighbors are going to hear. He goes, the dog's going to fucking go crazy again. And he just takes 2 shots. And they both turn around and start running back to the car. They get in the car. He puts the pistol back in the holstered area, gives it to Matt and says, dude, we gotta go. We gotta go. He's like, what the hell is that thing? He goes, where did you come from? Where did you go? He's like, he goes, that thing sounded like me and you talking. And it's growling. So they back out and they're talking to each other. And Brennan is like, dude, he goes, that thing sounded like you and me. He's like, I don't know what that thing is. He goes, but when I came up to where that kind of dilapidated outbuilding is, I'm looking at it and I could hear you talking like you were trying to call me. Like you saw me walking by and wanted to get my attention because, you know. And he's like, do you think we killed it? They get onto the main drag in Charleston. And Matt says, shit, dude, my bag's back there. My camera bag is back there. Where I hopped the fence. I threw mine over. And he's like, stops, turns it around and goes, dude, we gotta go. Is it on the same side as that thing, or is it in the woods? Matt's like, it's right in the woods, right there. He's like, I could hear you talking. He goes, that's why I just dropped it and came, you know, when we left, I was going to grab it. I never anticipated on seeing what we saw. They get back and they're standing outside looking for, and boom, it's right there. Find it, throws it in the car. Matt starts to walk around the car. Brennan's getting in the car, right about to shut the door, says something to Matt, who is opening the door. And as he opens the door and responds, this terrifying screech just comes from the opposite side of the fence. Matt goes, what the hell? Brennan's like, get in the car, dude. He's got the car started. He's ready to back out. It's waiting in reverse. Whatever. He did not get a great look at it, but boom, it grabbed Matt as he's getting in the car. He said you could hear what sounded like something shimmying down a tree, almost like a big cat. And just started to rip him out of the car. No. Brennan grabs his arm and goes, dude, I'm going to floor it in reverse. He goes, get ready to just jump in. And he kind of mats it down. Brennan's got Matt's arm, and he kind of bams it in, boom. And whatever had him, now mind you, we know what it was more than likely a crawler, let go of him. Now he's bleeding profusely from his arm because of the claws on its hand. He's like, dude, holy shit, you know, we gotta pull over and get that taken care of, because it's literally bleeding. They get to an area where they can park and nonchalantly bring any attention to themselves. He's looking at it, and it's just these wide gashes. Muscle can be seen, everything. Gets out of the car, gets the first aid kit from the trunk, wraps his arm up, cleans it up first, obviously, wraps his arm up, and everything's like, we got to go back. Brennan says this to Matt, and Matt's like, dude, what do you mean we got to go back? He goes, I will go with you, bro. He goes, but let's not jump the fence. He goes, that thing's waiting for us in the woods. He goes, I know, but we gotta get it on film. We gotta get it on film. They pull in. They're kind of looking around, and nothing's there. It's not in the trees where it was. It's not in anywhere in the vicinity. They both agree we need to leave right now. Gets back in reverse, pulls out. As they're going down this little dirt pull off, they hear thump, and the car kind of stops for a second, like it just stops, and he didn't let off the gas at all. Turns, realizes, dude, we just hit one of these things. We just hit that thing. Not one of these, because they don't know that there's multiple of them downstairs. As that is processing through their mind, they get pull out and they start the long drive back to their house. They get back to the house and they're talking, let's see what you got for video. Did you catch it? Did you catch any of your, exit duty quickly? And they get out, get home, boom, done. At that point, they decide, let's never do this hunting shit again, ever. If you want, we can go back tonight. Matt and Brennan are talking to each other like, we can go back. Yeah. Well, no, don't want to. Okay, great. Matt says something that threw him off, because he's pulling down Matt's road to drop him off. And Brennan's like, dude, we're at your house. And he's like, oh, yeah, all right. And he's grabbing his bag and stuff and standing outside of the car, and he kind of looks at Brennan, and he's like, all right, dude. He goes, I'll catch you later. And as he's backing out of the car to say goodbye and go into his house, Brennan sees these glistens in his eyes. He sees a glisten. And he's like, oh my God. He goes, was I not talking to Matt? He's like, what the hell? Gets home, trying to unwind. Phone rings. It's Matt. Da-da-da-da-da. Let's go back. Let's go back and get this son of a bitch on camera. All right. Let's do it. We'll wait until dark. Bring a firearm. All right. Goes in, gets whatever Brennan picks him up. He's got a shotgun with him. Brennan's got a shotgun. Pistols in the trunk. Shotguns are on the back seat. Ammunition's in the front seat. They get back to that area. And as they're pulling down that dirt road, they look into the landfill area, and they see like 3 or 4 blacked out Suburbans in the middle of this, abandoned landfill. They start to try to back out, and right up to the fence line. Hey, what are you doing here? Just looking, la da da. All right. Government is there looking for these things. Question Matt. Question Brennan. Why are you guys here? We're just actually looking around, but we're smoking weed. They see off in the distance a large cargo truck with the canvas top, and they hear that scream, cry, whatever you want to call it, and they jump in their car. Government guys trying to talk to them. Back out, get the hell out of there. Okay. Law enforcement is back, or law enforcement's at their house. They wake up, law enforcement's knocking at both their doors simultaneously, which they find out later on. They're both brought down to the police station and questioning them again. What did you see? Why were you there? This, and that. Not any word on what they were really doing. All right, well, you're going to get a trespassing warning. Don't come back there again. You'll get trespassed, and, 2 months later, Matt joins the Army and does his boot camp, does everything else, serves his term there, gets home. Brennan is now out of state. He had met a girl, kind of moved with her, starting to do more, less YouTube channel. He's now going to school to better his career opportunities and stuff. There's not much communication that goes on. 3-4 weeks after Matt had gotten out of the Army, Matt took his own life in the room at his parents' house. During that period of time, a couple texts sent out from Brennan. Hey, bro, how are ya? Back. This, and that. Doesn't get any kind of response. Drives up to his house, where he's then informed that his best friend had taken his own life. Says, can I go see his room so I can just sit there for a minute and feel better? Notebook sitting on the bed. Apparently, he had written down any kind of experience he had. Just realizing how bad that experience fucked him up to where he took his own life. Brennan has never done any kind of video recording since. Just kind of fell off the face of the world. And just a tragic case. And there you have it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed today's upload as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd really like to thank you all for supporting this channel. After all, it is your support that helps the channel to continue to grow and go, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and our friends. These creatures are real. These events have happened. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions. Never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.